Hey, internet world. I'm Monkey Boogie Pop. This is Vibing with My Intrusive Thoughts. As I've gotten older and I reflect on the media that I've consumed as a child, I've started to notice things as an adult now that I didn't notice upon first viewings. For example, The Little Mermaid, King Triton was 100% right, not wanting his daughter running off and gallivanting with an adult. She's 16 years old. That's a child. I know she says she's not a child,
I'm not a child.
but she's a child. When I was 16, I didn't think I was necessarily a child, but now as a 40-year-old, I definitely view myself as a child from that time. One of the things that's kind of come up in my mind is how in movies and shows and whatnot, some people, children especially, are treated really cruelly just to lead to a bigger, happier moment. And the example that's invaded my headspace today was the ending of Angels in the Outfield. Damn, Brody, you okay? For those uninitiated, Angels in the Outfield is a 1994 Disney film starring Danny Glover, Tony Danza, Christopher Lloyd, and the wee baby Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That was based on a 1951 film by the same name, although there were no Angels in Major League Baseball in 1951, so the team is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Another funny thing is in 1994, the baseball team, the Angels, were simply the California Angels. There were no Anaheim Angels at the time. Hey there, Future Bruce here, just editing the video, and I noticed that I totally forgot not only do the Anaheim Angels no longer exist, but neither do the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They are the Los Angeles Angels now. Back to the video. A brief synopsis of the movie itself. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, my God, look how young that kid is. Probably about the age I was when I saw this movie the first time. I would have been 10. This movie came out 30 years ago. Holy existential crisis, Batman. I'm gonna have to come to terms with my mortality sooner or later, but that's something for another day. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is an orphan. His mother passed away, and his father sucks, and tells the wee baby Levitt that they could be a family again when the Angels win a pennant.
When are we gonna be a family again?
From where I'm sitting, I'd say when the Angels win the pennant.
The Angels are like the worst team in baseball in this movie until Joseph Gordon-Levitt says a prayer. Kind of looks like he's wishing on a star, but he's just praying that God would help the California Angels win a little so he could get his family back. And God answers his prayer. He sends Christopher Lloyd to kind of direct other Angels in assisting this team win baseball games. Seems kind of beneath what an omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent being would use their power for, but it's a Disney movie, so you've got to suspend your disbelief. The team is winning. Danny Glover, as the coach, is learning to not be such a dick and how to relate to kids. You know, like he's friends with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And his friend, JP, who's not even featured at all in the trailers for this movie, but he's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's best friend. He's a sidekick. He's basically there to just get sad. Joseph Gordon-Levitt has to go to court for what he thinks might be a chance to get his father to make a family with him again, but is instead his father giving up custody. Again, this is one of those points where, like, as a kid, I watched this movie and I think, what a terrible guy. But this is another example of, as an adult looking back at this, I don't want to say I can kind of see it from this guy's point of view, but it seems like this guy is actually doing the right thing. He's got a goatee. He rides a motorcycle. He's puffing away on a cigarette indoors and blowing that secondhand smoke right into his son's face. This used to be allowed in Disney family movies. Clearly, he's not ready to be a father. If any adult isn't ready to be a parent or isn't responsible enough to be a parent, then don't be a parent. And, you know, yes, contraceptives are a wonderful thing, but if you absolutely must raw dog it and you have a child, maybe it's best if you aren't involved in that child's life. The Angels have their final game where they can win the pennant, but the Angels aren't showing up until Christopher Lloyd appears to tell Joseph Gordon-Levitt championships need to be won on their own, as if there hasn't been divine intervention up to this point allowing them this opportunity. Just dramatic for the sake of drama. But, again, I digress. It's not an important point to this video. The point I'm trying to make, I finally get to, is at the very end of the movie, the Angels win the pennant without the help of angels. The baseball team wins without, you know what I mean. Danny Glover brings the kids home. The kids are all excited. Their caregiver tells Joseph Gordon-Levitt that his social worker called about finding him a permanent home. JP runs off extremely sad. Danny Glover reveals it was him that called the social worker and wants to adopt Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Joseph Gordon-Levitt gets really excited and then really sad because he can't leave JP behind, which leads to Danny Glover saying,
I can never leave JP. He's coming too.
They have a big hug. They're going to be a family. Happy ending. Thanks, Brody. But oh my God, this poor child. He's only there to suffer and be a second thought to Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You may have noticed that throughout this, I keep referring to the actors by their names just to keep things simple. But I refer to JP as JP, and that's because he was played by Milton Davis. You may not be familiar with that name. I don't think most people are familiar with that name. Made appearances in a few things. College Humor, Sister Sister. That's what's up. Oh, hold up. Yo, I remember this commercial. Kid goes, don't even think about it to Shaq.
Don't even think about it.
That was him. Holy crap. It feels like JP is an afterthought in every aspect of his life. And again, it's a movie, so we don't get to see the entirety of his life. One, because he's a fictional character and he only exists within the frame of this movie. We only see him hanging out with his best friend, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And when he's not with his best friend, he's crying or trying to do the thing that his best friend can do, i.e. see angels. You would think that if an adult decided he was going to adopt two children who lived in the same group home and were friends with each other and were thick as thieves, you would probably tell them both. Say, hey guys, your social worker called about finding you both a permanent home, or we found someone to adopt you both. Something more that'll let them know right off the bat you guys are staying together, because to me that's the most important aspect of this adoption, is that these two kids who have suffered loss, all they have are a state-appointed social worker, a temporary foster parent, and themselves, each other. To find a place for them both where they're going to be happy to, assuming they're going to be happy together. That's kind of what you'd want to open with, right? As opposed to just letting this kid JP know right off the bat, you're the second thought, you're the sidekick, you're the get one free in the buy one, get one free deal. You're the set of steak knives that comes with the purchase of the main product you're buying. And that's very specific. She says, right, I'm gonna break with my habit here. Just to quote the movie, Roger, your social worker called about finding you a permanent home.
Roger, your social worker called about finding you a permanent home.
And again, JP is an afterthought. Was this set up by them? Maybe on the way home, Danny Glover gave them both a ride home afterwards. He would tell them, hey, by the way, I want to adopt you both. Even if things weren't in place and it wasn't a sure thing, this seems like the kind of thing that he would have wanted to talk to them about first. Or even Maggie when they get home. That's the caretaker's name. should have broken it differently. It almost, I mean, I know it obviously it was planned. It was a script. It's a movie. It was scripted. This is a writer said, "Hey, we're going to do it like this. We're going to gaslight this child into thinking he's going to be alone again just to have a happy moment." That's the other way it's shown that this poor kid is the secondary thought is when the only person in the world who seems to care about this kid, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, says,
I can't leave JP.
that's when Danny Glover says, "Oh no, I could never leave him. He's coming too." Just seems unnecessarily cruel. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I didn't like any of the outros I recorded, so I'm doing it in post. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it, subscribing to the channel. I'm told those are good to help grow things on YouTube. Let me know in the comments if there are any other examples you can think of in which a character is treated unnecessarily cruelly just to enhance a happy ending later on. Tell me if I put way too much thought into this movie from the 90s. I mean, in fairness to me, I've had 30 years to think about this film, and here we are. Either way, thank you for vibing with me and my intrusive thoughts, and I hope you'll come hang again soon.